But thing number two this morning, oil. And it has to do in particular with reports that President Biden is set to announce a big release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve of up to 1 million barrels of oil a day for several months. Bloomberg reporting that the total release over a period of time could end up being 180 million barrels. That causing oil to fall. You see that leg downward when these reports started to surface last night. So that's an important factor. Also, by the way, this is not the first time we've seen an SPR release over this period of time where we've been seeing rising oil and rising gasoline prices. This is actually the third time that we have seen this announcement of a release in the last 6 months or so. But, you know, it's a global picture when you look at oil. And we also have an OPEC Plus meeting that went on today. It was an online meeting, a brief online meeting, where effectively the body just ratified what they had already been planning. That is a 432,000 barrel a day output increase starting in May. But again, that was as expected, Brian, so not really seeing an effect from that decision on the oil markets, more that there is more supply coming to the market in the U.S. But, you know, you've been looking through the notes this morning. I've been looking through the notes this morning. There seems to be some pretty broad agreement here that this is not going to have a huge lasting impact.
Yeah, only in the markets, Julie, just to get this sometimes crazy commentary on the street. And I would call this, I would put this right in that category. A lot of notes calling out that the SPR, only 568 million barrels are remaining in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That is the lowest since 2002. So in the market's eyes, at least what we've been reading here this morning, if President Biden signs off on this, those barrels come out, perhaps that could eventually, you know, even just light a bid or light a fire under oil prices even more, and the fear that we're running out of barrels in the SPR. And then last but not least, you mentioned OPEC, that OPEC meeting too. No real large increase in output, in large part, I would suspect, Julie, because of this potential move here by President Biden to release a million barrels a day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. So all in all, you're really just not getting that plunge lower in oil prices, and then perhaps you're not really getting that plunge in gas prices that I'm sure the president is looking for.
Well, this is, you know, oil is a global market. This is a local release. A million barrels a day doesn't really go towards bridging the gap that is because of the cutoff in Russian oil exports to the United States and also the disruptions that we're seeing in oil around the world. We still have no Iran deal that would bring that supply back to the market. So there, you have these shifting sands globally, and sort of this move, while maybe politically significant, is not necessarily going to make a big difference for the oil market. But we'll keep watching it here. Certainly we had the reaction in the market.